Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? So it's so cool to see all of you guys here. A lot of people that I have a great deal of respect for. Welcome to the 19th Annual Petoskey Regional Chamber of Commerce State of the Community Program. My name is Jeffrey Neal. I've met most of you guys before. I work for Osborne Klein, and I'm honored for the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful event. We are so excited to have 8 great speakers today who will cover multiple subjects in interview-style program. Today's program is being recorded by Alpine Media, thank you, Dewan, and is sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Consumers Energy, and OHM Advisors. Before we get started, I'd like to take the time to acknowledge a few dignitaries who are in the room with us today. The Honorable Regina Gasco Bentley, who's the chairperson with the Little Traverse Bands of Odawa Indians. Melanie Collinsworth, who is here on behalf of Congressman Jack Bergman. Tom Bratton is here on behalf of Congresswoman Elisa Slotkin. Kelly Lively is here on behalf of U.S. Senator Gary Peters. And Melissa Fruget is here on behalf of U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow. And it's an honor to have them here today with us. Let's begin by thanking our event host, Crooked Tree Art Center, who has, as you know, been undergoing a huge facilities issue here. And we hope you've had time to browse the amazing galleries and appreciate your patience as they put this beautiful historic building back together. And we're going to be working with them as a community, and they've done a lot to accommodate us, and we just appreciate them having us here today. Thank you very much, Crooked Tree. We also want to take a moment to thank Quiet Moose, who every year makes our stage look beautiful. I was up here last night picking out which pieces I was going to add to my living room here in the next few years. And so thank you, Quiet Moose. We really appreciate the furniture. And I see some of you have the roast and toast cups, so they're keeping us fueled with caffeine and all the refreshments. So thank you, roast and toast. So to make sure that you guys are fully informed, and the people I see in this room today are very active in the community. You are generally leaders in the community, people that we really look up to. And we want to keep you informed. So there's been a booklet that's been compiled. I was given the first hard copy last night, and it's also been digitized as well. So there will be a QR code that's up on the screen a few times today. And the reports are provided by various agencies and organizations throughout our community. In fact, there are 30 separate reports in our booklet from different organizations. And this book has been compiled by Emily Stuchel. So thank you, Emily, from the Chamber of Commerce. We all know how hard Emily works, and this is a hard project to put together. So we appreciate all the work you've done, Emily. And you can view today's agenda along with the reports by scanning the QR code that's been provided today. Our lead sponsor for today's program is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, a longtime supporter of the Petoskey Regional Chamber of Commerce and many chambers throughout the state of Michigan. As they were not able to be with us today, Nikki Devitt, our president of the Petoskey Chamber, has a message to share on their behalf. Nikki?
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Didn't expect that. So Blue Cross, as Jeff said, has been a long-standing Chamber of Commerce supporter, and we greatly appreciate all their contributions, so I'm very happy to share a little message for you on their behalf. So did you know that February is Heart Health Month? Each February, Blue Cross partners with the American Heart Association to raise awareness of cardiovascular disease in hopes of saving a life. Cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer for women. It's important to continue to raise awareness, continue the research, and implement the initiatives that can lower this statistic and even eliminate its impact in our lives. At Blue Cross, they are committed to being members of their trusted partners by providing affordable, innovative products that improve the care and health of their communities. They know that partnering is key, so Blue Cross works with schools, healthcare organizations, and providers to improve access to healthcare, eliminate health disparities, and build stronger, healthier communities. Some great examples is the Building Healthy Communities program. Since 2009, this program has helped more than 500,000 students in more than 1,100 schools. Strengthening the safety net. This program has donated more than $18 million since 2005 as a safety net to health clinics across the state. And the Michigan Health Endowment Fund. From 2014 through 2031, Blue Cross Blue Shield will pay $1.56 billion to this fund in the aims of improving healthcare access, cost, and quality throughout the state of Michigan. Helps if you turn to the right page. Yes. The last thing I want to tell you is at Blue Cross, they also have a social mission. They are committed to increasing access to affordable health care, enhancing the quality of care that patients receive, and improving the health of Michigan's citizens and communities. Thank you to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'll turn it back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Nikki. So wow, that is some great information, and thank you again to Blue Cross Blue Shield for their incredible support. I think back to my many years being involved with the Chamber, and it seems like Blue Cross has been there pretty much every step of the way. We'd also like to thank our additional supporting sponsors today, and that is Consumers Energy and OHM Advisors, and we'd like to share a brief video from Consumers Energy.
You know, it's so interesting to think about the West Side even 10 years ago. You had buildings that were these beautiful historic buildings, yet they sat there with no love and no investment.
Recognizing a chance to reimagine this historic neighborhood, Mike Van Gessel of Rockford Construction joined forces with the City of Grand Rapids and Consumers Energy to create a neighborhood of the future featuring underground power lines, on-site solar panels, and battery storage. This created a cleaner, more reliable energy grid, which helped draw residents and businesses back to the West Side.
I really didn't miss Chicago as much as I thought I would, because Chicago is known for having a lot of options. Well, here's New Holland Brewery, and here's Butcher's Union, and here's Condado Taco, and here's Ando Sushi, and I found that the West Side really feels like home, and I've really loved living here.
I think that Circuit West has really been a beacon and an example of how to do it right.
So thank you again to all of our wonderful sponsors, and I think it's time to get this show on the road here. So today's program is all about providing the maximum information in the shortest period of time, right? So we want to get that information. We want to understand what's going on in the community. Where do we stand today in all these different sectors in our area? Each year we read through all these reports submitted, and we're always pleased to see the continued theme of collaboration in our community. And I think I can think of a couple people in this room, but many of you work for different organizations, and I feel like what makes this community so special is how we all work together to continue to improve our community. As this is my first time up here on stage for this event, I have sat in your seats many years, and it really is a privilege. I was able to sit down last night and read through a lot of these reports, and I can't wait for you to hear from our speakers today. I think it's truly outstanding what all of our different resources and community organizations do to work together to make this area, Petoskey specifically in northern Michigan, such a special place. We have shown year after year that Petoskey region continues to strive, being a thriving community for all, and I hope that all of you will get a chance to see that today. Speaking of inspiring, our chamber continues their efforts to champion businesses in our community. They're truly working every day in the future success of our region. Let's check in with Nikki for some of the highlights from the chamber and takeaways from this year's contributors of the State of the Community Reports. Nikki?
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Okay, I am so excited for today's program for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, as Jeff said, thank you all for being here today. It means a tremendous amount to us. Better late than never. That's one of the reasons I'm really excited to be here. And before we kind of get into our chamber update and talk about the innovation of our community, I just want to take a quick second to really express my sincere gratitude to the Crooked Tree Arts Center and staff for their incredible ability to flex. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but a little over 3 weeks ago, they had a massive destructive water issue. And in that moment and in that time, we decided to push our event back, but they also had to accommodate so many other renters and events and and things that they had to move and flex. And it was a really uncertain kind of scary time. And with the staff's effort and dedication and the wonderful help from Lake Effect Restoration, we are here today in this beautiful, incredible space and venue that I think is one of the jewels of Petoskey. And it just emphasizes how incredible our arts are and how amazing our arts culture is in this community. We are so lucky to have the resources we do. So I hope you will join me in supporting them, because while you can't see it all, there's a lot of work to be done. So please give them a big round of applause for their dedication in still hosting us. Okay, now I'll get back to the script. So sometimes I think it feels like 2023 lasted about a week. It went a little too fast for me, but there was a lot that was accomplished in that year. At the Chamber, our membership is going strong. We are at 750 members, over 750 members, which still constitutes us as one of the largest chambers in the state of Michigan. We hosted over 2,400 attendees at events, both virtual and in person, throughout the year. We continue to cultivate our partnerships with many great organizations, and a lot of you are represented here today. And along with the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, we are one of 17 chambers and economic development organizations who is the voice for your business in the background. We worked on state, local issues all year long to bring funds and resources and attention back to Northern Michigan. And we even got a lot of nice exposure on the national level many times. Our programming, well, it continues to meet the needs of our membership and our community, and we're excited to be building on that for the future. In 2024, we've already seen the launch of an innovation of our Winfluence programming. This is a program and opportunity that provides every business and their staff opportunities to learn for education and enrichment and business growth and so much more. We're excited for 2024 to launch a brand new model that's going to have great options for you to explore things like navigating a general workspace or AI, economic outlooks, business growth, HR incentives, so much more. And our new model allows individuals and businesses to take advantage of every program offered in one easy, affordable step. That absolutely was a pitch and a teaser. So visit PetoskeyChamber.com to learn more on how the Winfluence program can build your business and build your team. Or ask any of the wonderful Chamber staff. Speaking of the Chamber staff, contrary to popular belief, there is no such thing as downtime for the Chamber. I tell you, if you think that summer ends and we just sit and twiddle our thumbs, it does not happen that way. We are constantly planning, innovating, and working for you, all of our 750 members, all of our community members, the entire workforce it represents. And that is a big lift, but you have the best team doing that for you. So as I always do, I'm going to embarrass them all. Lisa Hoyt, who is our membership director. Emily Stuchel at the back of the room, who handles all of our programs and events. And Miss Molly is hiding. Molly Voorhees, who is our business and communications manager. This small but mighty team is grateful to be your chamber and really represent this wonderful place that we all call home. So now I'm going to challenge you to a little impromptu exercise. You gave me a microphone and you put me on a stage, so this is what's going to happen. This does require a little audience participation, and because I know you don't want to make me look silly up here, and we all don't want to hear the crickets, or you don't want me to yell at you, I'm just going to ask you a couple little things. First, I need you all to stand up. Oh yeah, I'm getting snickers. I like it. Little dirty looks, that's okay too. You don't know what I'm going to do to you, do you? No, this is good, I promise. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to look around the room. Look at your neighbor, look at the rows behind you. Just take a quick look. This is step 2. You'll recognize faces. You might see some faces you don't recognize. Wave at somebody if you want to. That's okay. There you go. You're friendly. I like it. All right. This room is made up of incredible business owners, a vibrant workforce, invested community members, valuable organizations, unbelievable elected officials. In short, this room is made up of everyone who makes great things happen. You are the reason, and everyone around you, that this community is so outstanding. You are the reason that today you are going to hear about not just what we've accomplished, but what we're going to do in the future, our continued community success. So take a moment and say thank you to the person next to you, to the person behind you. Shake a hand. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't expect that. Thank Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you back there. All right, there you go. Exercise complete. Thank you all for humoring me. Thank you, Nikki. Woo! Okay, I wanted to do that though because I wanted to make a very important point to you. It's become abundantly clear to us in the last 4 years that our community, like so many others, has been and continues to be confronted with persistent challenges. Workforce, housing, childcare, infrastructure, population, and if you know me, you know I could go on for a really long time, but I'm not going to, because the point that I want to make is while these issues continue to be a part of our daily lives for our businesses and our community members, these challenges, even though daunting, are prompting us to adapt and innovate. We understand progress does not happen overnight, and certainly no one agency can do it alone. It takes us all of you, everyone in this room, our community, and our countless partners to address these challenges. Because guess what? That's what we do best. So today our speakers will illuminate these exciting initiatives, so many of them, and the progress that's being made in key areas of our community. These discussions underscore the importance of our collective efforts in shaping a brighter, more inclusive Petoskey for its residents now and residents of the future. And I know I say it every year, but this is true. We remain deeply grateful at the Chamber for the opportunity to serve you, our members, and our community. We know the trust you put in us, and we appreciate the opportunity more than I can say. So let's get ready to hear from our wonderful first group of speakers, and I'm going to turn it over to Lisa as we invite them to the stage to kick off our first interviews.
All right, here we go. In July of 2023, Mary Beth Bennett purchased the Terrace Inn and 1911 restaurant, becoming the 5th owner. She's been involved in the hospitality industry since going back to 2010, and she was previously the general manager at the Siren in Detroit. The Terrace Inn, which opened in 1911, has continuously provided lodging and casual fine dining year-round to visitors as well as residents of the Petoskey area. So as a new owner of a long-established hotel, how do you look to maintain the tradition of the Terrace Inn?
Well, thank you so much for the kind introduction, Lisa. I think that the traditions of Terrace Inn really go back to the traditions of Petoskey as a community as a whole. I think that the community of Petoskey has always opened its arms to visitors and tried to be a place where people could relax and enjoy and step away. When the Terrace Inn was originally built in 1911, that was when Northern Michigan was really coming into prominence as a destination for travelers looking to get away from the city, looking to get away from the hustle and bustle, and really have the opportunity to sit back, relax, enjoy. And I think that's really what we still aim to do today. So kind of being that place where people can come to get away from it all. We have some amazing organizations throughout Northern Michigan, Little Travelers Conservancy being one of them, that have done great work in preserving the natural beauty that we find here in our backyard. And our goal is to be the place that people come to at the end of the night after exploring all of those beautiful trails, waterways, lake shores, as well as the galleries, restaurants, shops that downtown Petoskey has to offer. So whether it's people who are staying at the inn or people who are coming to dine in our restaurant, 1911, that's really where we see our place within the tradition of Petoskey's hospitality.
Perfect, perfect. So you have been working with a neighbor, and that neighbor, his uncle was actually William, and is it DeVol?
Yes.
Okay, good, I said that right. And he was the original builder of the inn. So you've been talking with him about trying to bring back some historical elements to the property, and we were just curious what that might look like. What elements are you working on?
Yeah, it's been really special. I feel like I've been so lucky. The Bayview community has been so welcoming. They've been so full of information, history. And so Patty, who lives down the street from us in Bayview, she's right down the hill, she stopped by one afternoon. We got to spend a few hours together going over old family pictures, historical artifacts from the inn, as well as her telling her stories about when she would come up as a child. And at that point, I believe her cousins were running the inn. But just really kind of sharing all of that with me. And so as we go about maintaining this beautiful old property, as well as doing some of our own renovations and adding our own touch on it, what I really try to go back to is kind of those photos and those feelings of the original design. And so one of the things that we've started with is, editing, stripping down, really being able to see the beautiful architecture that is there. And then as we're adding things back in, I just ask myself, would this look in place within the design as it was originally intended? So one example of this is we're getting new lighting throughout our public spaces. And I've looked at probably 1,000 light fixtures. And the one that we landed on, actually, as you look back at the photos, is very similar to what was originally in the inn when it was built. And it's by no means an ornate, crazy, antique thing, but the lines and the overall feel of it feel very much at home within the era as well as now. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do. And I think that that's one of the cool things when you have access to people who have that kind of history, is that you're able to get kind of that insider information. And Bayview has been such a treasure trove of that because there are so many families who have come there for generation and generation that they have this long history that they're happy and eager to share. One of the really cool things that I've learned about the inn through Patty and through others is that while William Duvall did build the inn, it was actually his wife, Josephine, who ran the inn. And so as someone who has worked in hospitality for a long, long time and been, the sole woman in a fairly male-dominated industry a lot of the time, I think it's so cool that this inn was originally women-run. And it was Josephine and her daughter who ran the operations. And so it feels like it's carrying on that history of having a woman's touch in this hospitality industry.
Well, it's great that you have a neighbor like Patty
She's
to
awesome.
help you. I know we did a walkabout Wednesday there at the end of January as a chamber networking event, and we were entertained by Jay Millar and Kathy Myers, who were discussing quite a bit of history and talking about the inn, and I think you could have a luncheon and have them speak, actually.
I think I could, certainly.
Exactly. Any updates that you want to share? I think maybe you have something new to show today that's up there.
We are excited that we are just rolling out our new branding for the inn. So the best news about this to me is that we will have a new sign on 31. So that would be nice. And so this is our new logo that we're rolling out. And we're also really, I've tried to take my time and really listen to guest feedback as far as making changes and hear what they like and hear what they're looking for. And so like I mentioned, we're doing the light fixtures, we're doing carpet, just minor cosmetic things, and then also really trying to make sure that we're taking care of the less glamorous side of things and making sure that our staff has a safe and functional place to work. So doing kind of not exciting stuff like ovens and plumbing and all of those things that go into running an old building, as I'm sure the folks at Crooked Tree can tell
Easily
you all
relate
about.
to. Yes. So looking forward, and also just in your 7.5 months of ownership, trends that you're seeing, and then also what you anticipate for the coming year in terms of tourism and the visitors.
Yeah, I mean, there are just endless studies and analysis and articles that you can read about trends in tourism. I'm sure Jim could tell you all about them. But what I'm hearing from my guests and what we're experiencing on a day-to-day basis is that our guests and our visitors are really looking to have, that authentic insider experience. So we spend a ton of time talking to our guests about referrals to restaurants, art galleries, and everyone wants to know where the locals go. People have really kind of embraced that mentality when they travel, that they want to go past kind of the surface level and get to know a community. And what's been interesting about my guests is that probably 50% of my guests are repeat travelers, many of which who have been coming here for 15, 20 years. And so they have their favorites. They know their things, but they are so eager to learn more and to discover, more hiking trails, different places where they can go cross-country ski, different new restaurants and cafes they should check out. So I think really immersing themselves in a community is something that I see as a big trend. Another trend that we definitely see and that I have been it's been awesome is just the wellness aspect of travel, and this has definitely been a trend overall in the industry for several years now, but seeing it up close and personal in more of a nature-driven environment, whereas I've been in cities before, is a little bit different. So the amount of people that roll up to the hotel and they have their snowshoes, if it would snow, they, have their hiking boots with them, they are ready to get outside, they are ready to stay active. I think people are no longer wanting to just kick their legs up and relax their entire vacation. They want to maintain that active lifestyle that they have at home, and they want to do it well in a gorgeous environment. So I think that's something that's really stood out to me. And then I think that the ecological impact is something that is just going to continue to be a major factor in travel moving forward. I mean, there were, I don't know how many people follow football / Taylor Swift, but there was a big controversy over her use of a private plane to get to the Super Bowl. But obviously that's on a very large scale, but I think that more and more people, as they're booking trips, they're thinking about the impact that they're having on the environment. They're thinking about their carbon footprint. And I think that what we are going to see here in Petoskey is that all of these metro areas that are within our driving radius, so Grand Rapids, Detroit, Chicago, a lot of people who might have previously jumped on a plane for a 3-day weekend are now saying, no, let's drive. And obviously that's not perfectly clean, but it's still better and it's still a step in the right direction. So I think that we're going to be seeing more of that just slowly integrate itself into kind of every part of the travel experience, because that's, one of the biggest impacts that individual consumers can have.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your insight and sharing that information with us. Your passion is clear, and we look forward to future contributions related to tourism. And now I'm going to turn it over to Nikki for our next topic, which is education.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Mary Beth. Fantastic way to kick us off. All right, now we're going to jump into education, which we all know is a key to a thriving workforce and a critical part of our community's success now and in the future. And while there are many factors that impact our workforce, like, of course, housing, childcare, all those good things, creating a skilled workforce is actually the primary concern to meet the changing needs of our businesses. So joining us today to learn more about the future of education for our region is Ann Morningstar, who is the professor of art and design at North Central Michigan College, and Scott Kozo, who's the superintendent of Char-M ISD. Thank you for joining us. Yes, educators get lots of applause. So we're going to start off with you, Ann. So NCMC has made a great deal of changes in curriculum offerings in the past 2 years. We've talked about Fast Track. We've talked about all these enormous initiatives. But the newest one is the Associate of Applied Science in Digital Art and Design. Can you tell us a little more about this exciting new degree that's brand new to us?
It has been a labor of love. It has taken a number of years, COVID included, and a great deal of effort from all of the art faculty that we have at the college. And this degree is very significant for the students that we have at North Central. And a big reason for that is because students who come into the art and design field are really trying hard to figure out a way where they can be a creative professionally, make a career out of it, and be able to do what they love to do every day, the same as all of us. I think there's a lot of small business owners in the room, and so I think we all can relate to that. It is possible, and it's possible here in Northern Michigan. And so this degree affords students the opportunity to see this future for themselves through in an associate degree level. It's brand new. We've never had a fully arts-based curriculum at the associate degree level. We have certificates of development, and this associate degree ladders right up into that, and so we are very proud of what it offers our students.
And it's launching.
Oh, yes. So it is officially official. Our accreditation body approved it about a month ago, I want to say. And so we are going to be laddering some students in who already have the curriculum and the educational plan set in that regard, but also starting to promote it more to prospective students, and so starting in fall of 2024.
Yeah. I don't have any, okay, so yes, I do have bias. So my youngest is a graduating senior from PHS this year, and
Congratulations.
this is why he decided to stay home at NCMC instead of traveling.
Gosh, we're so
was
proud.
because of this. So
Awesome.
Yeah, lucky
Yes.
me, he's staying home.
Yeah. We're doing all we can to help, I think.
Thanks, Ann.
I think you can go live on the farm, maybe.
That's true, too.
That's true, too. Look at all the things. All right, Scott, it's your turn to be in the hot seat. So Shahram ISD, I've raved about our ISD on a national level multiple times in the last 12 months. I've held you up to standards against some big cities in Colorado and even all the way over to New York, because you really have something special going on there. So offering services and programs that are available to students in the Charlevoix and Emmett County school districts. Can you tell us just highlight a couple of the more successful programs in the last year?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for putting this all together and having Shahram be a part of this. We're excited to be here, and focusing, I think, most importantly, for the purposes of this, would be on our career and tech education side of things. And as you can see up on the screen, those are the offerings that we have across Emmett County, and then in particular in Dr. Leslie's district there, Jeff's with us today, in Petoskey, the ones that are offered there. And so several new programs come up all the time based on industry need and how we are going to meet those needs. And so our team, under the direction of Jim Rummer, the CTE director, do a great job of listening, researching, exploring, and coming up with new programs. Jeff's got a new program running this year around multimedia and digital programming. And so that's exciting, and that feeds right into yours, Ann, which is great. And then in Harbor Springs, they have programs with audio-visual programming. We have programs up in the Pellston Airport, where I heard someone earlier say, yeah, we actually have 16-year-olds in planes. And that is true story. And they are actually earning an FAA pilot's license as a result of that, which is amazing. And then one of the other ones, you mentioned the shortage, and obviously educator shortage is well documented. We've started a Future Educator Academy that all the local districts can participate in right in their own district. So juniors and seniors are placed in elementary and middle school classrooms, a lot of times with former teachers, which is a really cool relationship that they're building, and seeing if they like it. As we all know, as Nikki's been so kind to say, education is a great profession, but it's not easy. And so giving them a chance, just like all the other programs, to see if it's something they might like. Because sometimes the answer of, well, this might not be something I like, is even more important than if they like it. So providing those opportunities across Shahram for all the students in every district, all 11 of our locals, as well as the 2 charters that we have within Shahram, any of those students can go to any program in any district. And we try to build that collegiality between the districts so that they can share those students and those programs because with all of your generosity through the CTE millage, that's what really makes all this possible. And those dollars go right back into the services and supports to our kids. And I think we have 50 programs across all of SHRM, 20 different ones, and then just numerous partners that have partnered with us. And Sean Lamps here from Great Lakes, and we just hosted a Boyne City Chamber event at his place last week, highlighting our line worker program. So students from Emmett County can also go down to Boyne City, and that is happening for that line worker program. So partnerships across, as Jeff opened the whole session, are just so important, especially in the education world. So thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
And thanks for putting this up nationally, I think.
It was good, I swear. No, all the things I say on a national level about everybody in our community are good. Trust me. We just have a big thing to live up to now because we keep talking about it. Thank you so much, and I think it's a really true highlight of the fact that as we're talking about 2-year programs that could lead into 4-year programs or certificates of education or moving into straight to career field, that this is one of the most important factors that our youth face, is what that decision looks like. And not only that, what our businesses face as who we're putting back into our system in the years to come. So this is just an exciting time, I think, for all of us. And that's going to lead me into you, Anne, and that is, we talked a little bit about NCMC's expansion of programs and accreditations. What are some of the offerings that you feel like the community should know about?
So some of the offerings, in addition to the Associate
Yes.
of Applied Science and Digital Art and Design, which, by the way, I'll do a little plug here too, that one of the adjuncts and I are actually currently working on trying to see if we can get a game design program going as well. So just so everybody can have that in their back pocket. Superintendent. Okay. But North Central is always looking for ways that we can continue reaching the community in a lot of different ways. The Fast Tracks programs that we offer are constantly, the CCE department is doing a phenomenal job in continuing to expand those. But on the other side of the house, the curriculum has been developing more associate degrees. We currently have an Associate of Arts in Global Studies. We have an Associate of Arts in Teacher Education as well, and newly an Associate of Science in Medical and Health Sciences as well. And I know that we also recently had an LPM program that had passed and gone through as well. So there's a lot happening. There will always be a lot happening as long as there is a need. I think that that's what North Central wants to be able to offer, and we work really hard to make it happen.
That's fantastic. I love it. All right, we're going to talk millage proposals, Scott, because, everybody's favorite topic.
Right.
But actually, she's like, here, take it. An extremely, though, important topic, though. So
Absolutely.
there is a millage upcoming, and I think it's just, I want you to have this platform to talk about how this impacts SHRM ISD.
Yeah, and I think, the thing I'd want to say, because I always kind of joke, we're kind of the organization that you all don't think you know, but you really do. Just look at your tax bill. We're on there 3 times, and wanting to reassure people that those dollars are going right back to the kids. And we've got, like I mentioned, Dr. Leslie and Mark Ashley from the Board of Education here in Petoskey, and these millages are all critical to the success of our students locally. And we're blessed, blessed, to have the support of the community that we have, to have the 3 millages, the special ed millage, the CTE millage, and the the enhancement millage. I'm sorry, blanked out because I'm supposed to be talking special ed.
I couldn't save you either. It's okay.
The enhancement millage, but all of those millages go right back to the schools and those local districts. And this one in particular is the special ed millage, and there's a lot of numbers up there, and we have flyers and all this information on our website. But I wanted to talk to you more specifically. Number one, I wanted to thank you, and then. Just 3 quick points. One, this millage puts those dollars that we collect right back into local districts for services and programs for students with disabilities that would otherwise have to come out of the general fund. So this millage does impact all students, capital ALL. It really does. And because these are by law, so the second thing, that by law, these services have to be provided. And so this millage really helps alleviate the stress on the local district's budget so that we can maintain those programs and services for all students in addition to these. And so right now, your dollars are allowing us to support the local districts at a 90% clip of their special education costs. So that's a combination of SHRM's costs, additional SHRM costs, and state reimbursement costs. And then the last thing I'll say is just that it's a renewal. It is a renewal. But I'm going to tell you, on the ballot language, I just saw it this morning, it just came in for the proof, it does say increase. But the reason is, and SHRM has traditionally done this in May, because if we would go for it in the previous calendar year, the Headley rollback would hit it before it ever was collected. So we've traditionally let it expire at the end of the calendar year and then renew it the following year so that it's not automatically rolled back. So I think those are the main things. And then the other thing that I think is something that I'm trying to promote a little bit more are the services go beyond just the public schools. The parochial schools also receive special education services for their students. So we're really trying to connect with our parochial colleagues and help them get this message out. This one, as well as the CTE, really do benefit all students across SHRM, as well as Emmett County. So it's a very important one. It's coming up in May 7th, and there'll be lots more information. Beth Peel, our Director of Communication, is already doing a great job getting the information out, and I really encourage you to, Beth and I are here, and Jeff and Mr. Ashley are here as well. Please feel free to stop us and ask any questions about this. It's just really important for the future of our districts, and so appreciate having this opportunity to cover those points.
Thank you
So
very much. And it's definitely something that folks need to understand best, so we appreciate you taking the time. All right, quick last question for both of you. Ann, I'll start with you. What do you see as the greatest potential to impact the workforce challenge from an education perspective? I know
Obviously,
I said quickly,
this
and
I
I'm
was
asking
gonna-
you to answer like, the world's biggest
Just
problem.
kidding.
But no, just 2 words. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, this could go a lot of directions, but I think from my viewpoint, it is that students can have a successful art and design career in Northern Michigan. It is possible. And I think that, helping them to see that that's possible is really important work. And I know that all of the art faculty do that. A lot of the faculty at the college do that in general, but speaking from my area specifically, I am always trying to find ways that I can build in real world experiences with ideally live clients, local businesses. My Communication Design 2 class, I saw Anna, you're out here somewhere. I don't know where you are. There you are. From the Watershed Council, the Communication Design 2 class is working with Anna and the Watershed on trying to produce educational materials that are going to be viewed potentially 9 and 10, 7 and 4, taken to farmers markets, put on the websites. These are also things that could be distributed on a statewide level, we found out yesterday. Anna came and talked to all of them. It's just really exciting that the students can see, wow, there's this real world opportunity. I've never thought about septic systems before, but now I have an opportunity to educate everyone with my visuals and my graphics and help them understand how important it is to have my septic system serviced, because it does impact, the watershed, and especially our beautiful home here. So just being able to have the opportunity to work with local businesses, coming into the classroom, students getting that connection, having that experience, building out their portfolio, all of these things are ways that it just really helps them to see that that future is bright for them and possible.
Thank you. All right, Scott, well said. Now it's your turn. Greatest impact to workforce challenges in education. What do you think from that perspective?
Well, I think it's going to be along the lines of the staffing will be the biggest challenges. But I will say the thing that I wish was out there more was just how amazing our kids are. I wish there was, we try to get that information out. I know, like I said, Dr. Leslie is doing a great job getting the information out in Petoskey, but it's not always what everybody hears or thinks. And so I'm hoping that by getting that message out about how great the kids are and the amazing things they're doing, again, flying planes. I think it was you that said it, Jeff, actually.
I did.
They're
I was
just
nervous about it. That's why I said it.
our insurance company is too. True. But I think the more we can get out, and what Ann said, what we're doing in education is tremendous. It's such a different world than when most of us went through several years ago. And I think if we can get that message out, and then removing the barriers for education, for teachers, is critical. And SHRM is part of a statewide effort called Talent Together, which is working with 14 different universities, including NCMC, on making college and college free and a paid teaching, student teaching internship as well. So those are the barriers that we found. And so we're really trying to be proactive. We're tired of complaining about it. It's not helping. And so trying to be active towards that and creating that impact with our kids who then can come back to the community and do the amazing things that they're doing. It's
Absolutely.
impressive.
They're our best potential, hands
They
down.
are. They're amazing.
Hands down. Well, thank you both so much. I
thank
truly
you.
appreciate you being here. It's clear that we are very lucky to have such forward-thinking educational institutions, not just those on the stage, but those that make up our entire district. So thank you. And we're going to move now to Jeff and the topic of environment.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you, Ann and Scott. Appreciate that. So I have with us Andy Toldzorf and Kieran Fleming, and I'm so excited to have you guys here today. There are really many things that make our community a great place to live, and I think we're all outdoors people, we get it. There's no secret that natural beauty and the dedicated efforts to preserve and protect our resources ranks right at the top. We are excited to learn more about two great organizations focused on the environment, and like I told you, Andy and Kieran are here with us today. Andy is the director of Emmett County Recycling, and Kieran is the executive director of the Little Traverse Conservancy. So welcome, guys. Andy, this first question is for you. Emmett County has long been a leader in the state for its recycling practices. Can you tell us about some of the programs that Emmett County allows to have such a great impact in northern Michigan?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So I think one of the reasons that Emmett County has been seen as a leader is the variety of programs that we offer. So as you can see up on the slide, we offer curbside recycling in Harbor Springs and Petoskey areas for businesses and residents. We offer drop sites, so we have 12 drop sites throughout Emmett County, and actually within 6 miles of anywhere in the county, you can reach a drop site. So we have a lot in the northern area where curbside is not offered. We also offer we have a transfer station, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, but I'm sure a lot of people are not familiar with all the stuff that goes on at the transfer station. So it's not just a garbage drop-off. We have bulky area drop-off. We have some hazardous material drop-off, and we do processing. So we process recyclables for Emmett County as well as Sheboygan and Presque Isle counties. And so we process and market those materials. We have hazardous waste days. And we also have food scrap recycling. So we have food scrap collection services to about 40 businesses in Harbor Petoskey area. And we provide event recycling services. So we provide bins for events for almost 40 events each year.
Wow.
And so one of the things that really sets us apart, in addition to offering all those programs, is just the fact that it's pretty unique that anyone's able to offer that amount of programs in the recycling industry, but the fact that we are county-run and we're an enterprise fund, so we're responsible for all of our own expenses and revenues for the most part. And with that, we can really ensure where the recyclables go. So there's a lot of national news articles that, does your recycling really get recycled? It's all going to the landfill or it's being burned. But here in Emmett County, we're very strong. We work hard to make sure that our recyclables actually get recycled. 95% of the materials that we process supply Michigan businesses. So we're not only keeping materials out of the landfill, but we are supplying Michigan businesses as well.
Wow, huge impact. Yeah, and I think, I don't know where I heard it, but it was like states and other cities reach out to Emmett County Recycling to ask them, what are you guys doing up there? Because we truly are the leaders, not just in our state, but maybe even in the nation of recycling. So thank you, Andy, for answering that question. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
please do.
Yeah. So last year, the state of Michigan passed updates to the recycling laws. So every county in Michigan is going to be required to create a new solid waste management plan. which is what they're currently called, but they'll be transitioning to materials management plans. And through that, a lot of counties are reaching out to us. They want to replicate what we do, how we do it, how do we have such a comprehensive drop-off center. So we've been doing a lot of tours, a lot of meetings with counties throughout the state, trying to replicate what we do here in Emmett County.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. I love it, Kieran.
Don't want to be that guy.
Right, you don't want to be that guy, right? I mean, this organization's been run by women for like, I don't know, the last 40
Very
years
well,
or
I
something
might
like that,
add,
so
yeah.
we get it. Kieran, the mission of the Little Traverse Conservancy is to protect the natural diversity and beauty of northern Michigan by preserving significant land and scenic areas and fostering appreciation and understanding of the environment. What are some of the key practices and programs that help you reach this mission?
Yeah, thanks. I'd actually like to back up to something you said a little bit earlier, and that is that we all know there's no secret that this place that we live in is incredible. In fact, it happens time after time whenever there's a master plan, or if you comb through any township or county plans. This always rises to the level of worth mentioning as something this community values. And I just think that's amazing because that's not true everywhere. And part of it is because this is a pretty cool place, The resorters and the vacationers, you can all relate to this, I'm sure. If you ask them where their moment is, and what they'll relate to is some place as they come to here that they feel the tension drop and the happiness set in. And we live here. We don't have to have that. And so I think it's pretty incredible that we not only have it, but we recognize it and we believe it's important. And that's shown up all across the board. It showed up. We've been working on our new 5-year strategic plan and did a little survey sort of in anticipation of that. And it all came through again, how important this is. What's interesting to me is that it's for different reasons for different people. I think one of you guys made a comment about how special this community is and all the good people doing all the great things, and certainly my family's benefited from the health care and the school systems and all the fine businesses that are here. I think that this is one of those interesting places where this conservation work that we do has a broader tent than just the environmental world. I mean, certainly if you believe in protecting the environment, we got something for you. But people do this for all kinds of different reasons. I'm a wildlife nerd. I grew up hunting and fishing. Does anybody else hunt or fish out there? Come on, there's got to be more than that. It's okay.
This might not be the right crowd for that.
That's how I came to the conservation movement. But other people describe it a lot differently. It could be things like just the simple scenic view or clean water. Wildlife habitat is one that really starts to ring up higher and higher. So this conservation work is important to all of us, kind of whether we think about it or not. Certainly we all live here for a reason. That little mental stimulation we get, that some talk seriously about how it feeds our mental health, it is why we're so happy. It leads to our happiness. So it's really important that we continue to recognize it up here where we still have it, and it's still such a beautiful thing. So what have we been doing? Well, a few things. I want to go back to 52 years ago when our founders started the Little Traverse Conservancy. They too recognized this whole concept of if we just could find a way to empower the people who love this place to protect what they can voluntarily. This is not about twisting arms or having legislation or having some sort of rule. And so when they started this thing years ago, that was the gamble that the people would sort of step up and do that. So now we are 70,000 acres conserved later. I don't think any one of those 7 founders would have dreamt that it would have gone this successful. But it just goes to show how the communities value this work. So we protect land in many ways. You're familiar with the lands we own. Hopefully you all are within 5 minutes of a place you can go take a hike, or you drive by our signs all the time. So that's cool, and I'll probably be touching on that in a little bit. We also protect land through conservation easements. That's private land that has a protective covenant that protects the natural resource factors that have public benefit. And then we partner with local units of government, the state, the tribe, whenever our sort of missions cross on conservation or access to the outdoors. So this might look like places like Spring Lake Park with Bear Creek Township, or anybody ever been to Sturgeon Bay? You ever hear of it? Cool place. That was one of the first projects that the Conservancy worked on. It was a significant player in helping that land become protected and accessible. So that's where we've gone with our land protection. We're at 70,000 acres to date in climbing. Our stewardship work, which encompasses taking care of all that land under our wing, and I think our stewardship director is here. Derek, are you here? Raise your hand. Derek Shields, he's probably here with his councilman hat on, but I'll call him out, he's on our team. He oversees all the work we do. We have over 100 miles of trails. We've upped our emphasis on ecosystem management, so this is things like invasive species. We've gotten a little bit more into the forest management, ecological management thing that has, provided some challenge on occasion. And then I also want to mention that we too believe strongly in the educational component to this, with the belief that if we can just get kids outside, they'll learn to appreciate the elixir that is Mother Nature. And more than ever today, as you know, with our phones and everything else, that's a challenge. So our education staff provides free of charge for thousands of kids a year to any of the schools in our 5-county service area, educational programming. So that's what we've been working on, and the future's looking bright, and we couldn't be more excited.
Cool. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Andy, you have a captive audience here. A lot of these folks are probably your clients or customers. What are some of the basics of recycling that businesses can institute to help them create a sustainable impact on our environment?
Well, there's plenty of stuff that can be done. So yeah, I do see a lot of familiar faces out there. So we have curbside recycling to businesses, like I mentioned, and I think a lot of the audience probably already subscribes to that service. We also have the food scrap collection as well. So I wanted to highlight this image up here, which I find very interesting. So this is assuming that you're already recycling. About 50% of what's left in your garbage is compostable. So 21% of it is food scraps alone. So we do offer both residential drop-off for food scraps as well as commercial collection for food scraps. So that's something that a lot of people don't hear about. It's not on the forefront. There's a lot of talk about recycling, but the organics, the food scraps, the composting is a big part of what we do as well. So 21% is food scraps alone, 15% is paper, 8% is yard trimmings, and 8% is wood waste. So if you can get that stuff out of your garbage, then you're really reducing your garbage as well. So our food scrap and curbside collection services are something that we offer. I also mentioned our event recycling services. So we have a couple different levels of service for event recycling. So if there's any event that you guys are hosting, feel free to reach out to us and we can either provide you bins or provide service for that. Another one that we're really working on right now is battery education. So a lot of people have batteries. They're not really sure how to dispose of them. So we do accept batteries from residents and businesses at the transfer station. The local hardware stores also have battery collection bins. So Meyer Hardware, actually all the Meyer Hardwares have battery collection bins. Batteries, I'm sure a lot of you are aware that lithium batteries propose a big fire risk. And so with us handling the waste, it's risky for us to have batteries in the garbage. It's risky for us to have batteries in the recycling. So we've had a handful of small battery fires, but we're really trying to mitigate that risk and keep the batteries out of waste and recycling and in the proper battery recycling bin by drop-off only. So we're working on a grant right now to put together battery collection kits, and that will include education and kind of collection bins as well to distribute those throughout the community to make sure batteries are properly disposed of. But as far as businesses beyond just those services and disposing of batteries properly, there's things like in purchasing, looking, and obviously there's so many different kinds of businesses out there, it's hard to generalize it, but just in your purchasing, being sustainable in what you're purchasing, where you're purchasing it from, reducing single-use plastic, so having reusable cups, plates, that kind of stuff. Just having recycling bins available and accessible and next to garbage cans. So that's one of the best practices is if you have recycling bins, make sure that they're paired next to a garbage can so that way garbage doesn't end up in the recycling. I could go on and on about all the different things that you could do for recycling and sustainability. But we do offer services to businesses of just coming in and looking at your business, kind of helping you figure out what's the best path for you, whether you take it to a drop site or sign up for any of our services. So feel free to reach out to our office and we can definitely walk you through any of your specific concerns that you have within your business.
Good deal. deal. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. Kieran, recently the Conservancy has acquired and made substantial improvements on several properties. Can you tell us more about a few of these projects that you guys have been working on?
Absolutely. We recently came out, probably most of you heard of a project we did on near Bay Shore, which is, I think it's one of the last wild half mile of shore, or quarter mile of shorelines, literally on the entire lake between here and Charlevoix. That project was done with, in partnership with our tribal friends, when one of our donors wanted to honor the tribal culture. And so that project will be called Enjeminoji Yamagak, which I was afraid to say, but I'm actually getting pretty good at it. It means place of peacefulness. It's a magnificent piece of property. The Conservancy, as you know, we have over 100 miles of trails. One of the places we want to be better is making sure that everybody can get out there and enjoy them. So on Enjeminoji Yamagak, we're working on a trail system that will be fully universally accessible. And so that means that anybody with any mobility will be able to get out there and use it and get all the way down to see the water in a very, just an amazing place. So you're going to love that. Derek and company are working on that. Don't get out there too soon. We're not ready yet. But that will be spectacular. We are currently working with the city of East Jordan on some land we hold down there to also create a universally accessible trail along the Jordan River. I'm really happy with the city of East Jordan looks at the Conservancy property there as an asset, something that they are going to improve the quality of life for their everyday people in East Jordan. There'll be a half-mile trail that'll span out across the wetlands and across some of the open water to our Jordan family, Rogers family homestead preserve, which is just going to be fantastic. We got a lot of other things going on. Up at the Off-Field Family Viewlands, which is the old golf course. If you haven't been there yet, you got to check it out. It's one of the most incredible view sheds in the region. Our team has been working on restoring the meadow areas, some of the former greens and fairways to a more natural native condition. We've worked with our friends at Blue Stem Meadows, who've put in a labyrinth up there recently. I think I saw Katie here before. Are you there, Katie? In the back. So that's just a really cool thing that also has a accessible trail to it. There will be a universally accessible fishing pier on the little pond there, hopefully this summer as well. And then right now, if you've been out there lately, you might have seen that they're working on a mountain bike trail or a mountain bike enhanced trail. So that is something new to us. We did one a few years ago at the Tanton Family Working Forest Reserve that's east of town. I hope that your friends and visitors can have a place to go. The idea behind a lot of this is to make sure that, the idea is synergy and balance. We want the quality of life for our residents and for the people that come here. And so if we can give them good, safe access to these places, that's the goal. Now, of course, we got hundreds of properties literally through the 5-county service area. Just get on our website, check out a map. Whenever you see one of our signs, you should look at that as a sign that says welcome and go out there and enjoy it. Some of them are a higher level of adventure than others. And so if you want to, you can look for the ones that are a little more accessible with trails and parking and that type of thing. So a lot of that's going on. Did I forget anything else? I wanted to mention also another nature megaphone, which is now at our Bytwerk Nature Preserve, just south of town a little ways. This is a handmade wooden megaphone that you sit in, and it amplifies the sounds of nature. It's super cool, so check it out. All kinds of things to do, and I wish I had more time.
No, I get it. I think we could do a whole presentation on just these two topics, so thank you guys so much. We are truly lucky to have you guys stewarding these practices and programs in our environment, and I thought of my wife and I moved back in 2012 from California, and just how these are some of the main reasons we wanted to move back and raise our family here. So we appreciate everything you guys are doing. This gives me an opportunity to thank all of our speakers, and if we give them a round of applause, we just really appreciate all of our speakers being here today. We'd like to also take a moment to welcome our second group of speakers.
Judge Jenny Deegan was appointed to the 57th Circuit Court by Governor Whitmer in April of 2021. And that was to fill the vacancy that was created when Judge Johnson retired. She graduated from James Madison College at MSU and received her law degree from the University of Detroit Mercy Law School. She was an assistant prosecuting attorney, and until her appointment, she was in private practice focusing on family law. She is one of the founding partners of the first all-female law practice in Petoskey, which continues to have a strong presence in the legal community. She's a graduate of Leadership Little Traverse, woo, woo, and served as a board member and past president of the Petoskey Harbor Springs Area Community Foundation. So thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to lead off asking if you can give our audience just a quick overview of the courts and the cases that each court typically handles.
Sure. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I have to say it's a little bit difficult to follow the other presenters because a government or the court system is generally seen as fairly dry. And I understand that, but it's actually not too terribly bad. So we're going to go through this. We try to make it a little bit interesting. There's 3 courts in our county, and we've got district court, the probate court, and circuit court. I am the circuit court judge. The district court is a starting place for all criminal cases that arise in our county, and that would be either misdemeanor or felonies. Misdemeanor are cases that you could go to jail for a year or less. If you're going to go for anything over a year, then you are going on to the circuit court, and those are felony cases. And in the district court, the court there also handles all civil matters under $25,000, as well as landlord-tenant. Civil infractions, probably maybe what the bulk of people are going to court for are for like traffic tickets, things of that matter too. So those are all handled in the district court. In the probate court, traditionally that is going to be all of your wills, trusts, guardianships for either legally incapacitated persons or for juveniles. Mental health petitions arise also in the probate court. And here in Emmett County, we have divided the family court division cases into both the probate court and the circuit court. So the probate court judge in our courts also handles all the juvenile crimes and child protective proceedings. In circuit court, I get all those cases that people are going to go potentially go to prison for. Anything over a year is prison, and so those cases come to me. I handle all civil matters that are over $25,000. I handle all of the family court cases that involve custody, divorce, either with or without children, anything with that, including custody, parenting time, and support. And then I also handle all appeals from the district court, and then some from like the zoning board. So I might get some administrative appeals. And I also handle some of the Secretary of State appeals regarding people's driver's license. Not all of them, but most of them come to me as well. So that's the difference.
That's a great overview.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to switch a little bit. And Emmett County's 57th Circuit Court has just launched a new DWI/drug problem solving court. So this hybrid specialty court provides an alternative to the traditional sanction-based criminal justice model for drug and alcohol offenders. So very innovative program, and we're going to ask for you to talk a little bit about the mission of the program and help us understand what it looks like, how it works.
Okay. Yeah, so we just started this program, and I say that just started it because it's getting ready to launch really with our first participants here in the next, hopefully the next couple of weeks. But it's really been about a several-year process to get it going. It is, I guess in some ways, a labor of love, but you've got to have all cylinders working together to make a program like this work, and it just happened to be with the timing in the last couple of years to be able to put this all together. And so it is, our mission statement is, like in many ways, mission statements are sort of wordy and like what do they really mean? This one is, we have a mission to improve the community's safety and reduce criminality by providing intensive treatment and supervision services to all participants. The purpose is to provide skills to support his recovery lifestyle and to learn to live life on life's terms. So what does that really mean? The recovery court at the circuit court level is for high-risk, high-needs individuals. We have quite a few of those that come in front of us. And those are people that are really at a crossroads in their life. They are on their way to prison in most likelihood. but they're also at a significant crossroads where they really are at a point for significant change. So it's not a program for everyone. It really is going to require those people that sort of fit that category. And we don't just sort of subjectively decide it. It's an objective process using an evidence-based process. There's a screening tool that is used, and then we sit down as a team and we decide if we're going to bring somebody into our program. It's completely voluntarily based, but it is also, you have to understand that you can do more harm than good. If you're highlighting the wrong person for the program and you're requiring them to go through all these hoops, it really can be more detrimental at some points. There are restrictions that are absolute barriers. Someone who's been convicted of a murder charge is not going to be able to come through our program. Some assaultive crimes are not going to be allowed to come through the program. And so, initially, so that you can kind of understand how it works, the person would plea as charged. So let's say they're facing, and in a case like this, you're talking about somebody who's probably got a fairly significant criminal history. I mean, not probably, they do. And so they maybe are coming in for a drug charge. Let's try this. It's going to be both, our program is going to handle both drug cases and also alcohol. So if you hit that benchmark for either one of those. So when you're talking about an alcohol person, you might be talking about somebody who's maybe got 4 or 5 drunk driving charges, maybe even more. And nothing has worked. They will have been to a prison probably already at that point. Somebody who's got a significant substance abuse, who's coming back to court for possession or delivery charges, again, the likelihood is probably pretty high that they have maybe even gone to prison. And it hasn't worked. And so the purpose of the Recovery Report program is it's not a sanction-based, it's incentive-based. Which for some people, I think, look at it and think like, well, why are we doing that for somebody who continues to break the law? Why would we do this? Because what you're finding is that for a certain component of our community, this program will work, and it will turn them around. Not everyone, but it will, and it can. So when you are a judge and you're in the courtroom and you're watching the same people, and for some of these people, I mean, I've been practicing 27 years. I'm seeing the kids of people that I represented or that I was prosecuting as a prosecutor, or I'm seeing the juveniles that I had when they came through the system when they were like 14 and 15 years old. Now they're in front of me. There could be nothing sadder when I see that happen because I know what the potential was for them, and yet they haven't been able to break the cycle. And so the purpose of the program is to try to get those people that are able to make that change. And the reality is that it's a very difficult program. It's structured to be 18 to 24 months. The minimum is going to be 18 months. Ideally, you get through it in 24. And it is very structured. There's 5 structured phases that start out super intensive. As you get closer to finishing the program, it becomes less intensive, and the whole idea is that they are putting together a system within their community that they can fall back on in the event that they need that assistance. So it's hard to envision, I think, for many of us as we sit here, because most of us have grown up in an environment that was stable, consistent. We had discipline. We had parents who had goals, who required things of us. We had education. We have a lot of community resources that are very available at our fingertips. Not everyone has that. Even living in such a gorgeous, beautiful community, there's a lot of people who just don't have the same benefits that we have or had as children, and that's so important. So you really see that every day when you're sitting in the courtroom. So I'm very excited for this program, and I'm excited to be able to come back to you all in a couple of years and tell you, hey, this is what we were able to accomplish. This is how it's working. Here's what we're seeing, and here's maybe some of the changes that we made in response because we want to be responsive to people's needs. So I also want to point out that this is an entirely collaborative program. This is not just Judge Deegan saying, hey, we're going to do this. It's not how it works. If that were the case, it would have happened 20 years ago. You have to have the buy-in from all of the community. We have incredible buy-in from Emmett County, from the administration at Emmett County. We have the prosecutor, community, we've got probation parole. We have Harbor Hall working with us. We have our community corrections. There are a number of agencies that in the community that have already pledged their support to assist us with this program, and I'm really overwhelmed by that. So it's been really a really interesting process in that regard.
Well, it seems like that's so much, yes. Incredible work, but that seems like that's so much what our community is about. How do we come together? How do we collaborate? How do we make an impact? How can we change for the future? So this is just wonderful that you have everyone that has come together on this. And yes, we can't wait for you to get it launched, and we can't wait for you to come back in the future and let us know the impact that it has had. So let's shift a little bit and let's talk about how this program, the effect that it can have on the court system, how it can kind of lessen the strain.
Okay, thank you. The studies show that individuals who successfully complete a recovery program such as ours will have reduced recidivism, meaning they're not going to come back to court, or if they do, it's for something minor, or it's unrelated to substance use. And that's important, obviously. I mean, that's like the critical piece, right? We don't want them back in the court system. But there's also a greater ripple effect that you probably haven't even thought about that occurs when people are substance-free and they are free of court involvement. Because sort of the chaos of their world diminishes. Most people that come into the court system repeatedly are used to living in complete chaos. They're used to that stress. They're used to high anxiety. They're used to nothing ever sort of going in their favor. And so when you start to take that back for them and say, actually, take a deep breath, this is not how life really is for most people. We have stress, but we're not always constantly at this high alert. They start to see greater potential. And so you'll also see that those people are usually highly involved in other court systems. So they're already maybe in the district court. They're in the probate court. Maybe their children have been removed, or they've been intervention through CPS. Or they're in the front of the court system. They've got child support issues. They've got parenting time issues. Maybe they've got warrants out because they haven't paid child support, because they didn't have a job, also because they were incarcerated. So now you're starting to look at it to say, hey, look, you're employed. If something goes awry, you know where you can go to get help. You have housing. You've got housing. You've got, you're not using. I mean, that's pretty clear. Now your judgment, you've had about 2 years of some clear judgment. It takes that long quite often to be able to clear out those cobwebs. And so it impacts their world. And if it impacts their world, it's going to impact the world of their family. If you ever think about, if you've got your children or grandchildren or good friends or family, and we always say this to our kids, especially when they were little, they're sitting at school, and they go to school at 8 in the morning, and they've had breakfast, right? And maybe it's been a little chaotic, because every house is a little chaotic, but we're talking nothing like maybe what their little desk mate has been through, because you don't know what they've been through. Maybe they haven't gotten breakfast. Maybe mom and dad have been up all night, yelling at each other, whatever. There's stress. They don't know if they're even going to have their house to go home to that night. That impacts that child, and therefore it impacts the class, the teacher, and has a direct influence on your child, even if they don't know or understand why. But when you diminish that stress for the parent, now you've allowed that ripple effect to work on their children, and it's amazing when you see that. Also, you're driving down the road, doing whatever. Now maybe we've alleviated one more person that's on the road that's under the influence, or potentially might be under the influence later that day. It increases a community safety for you. I could give you a whole lot of specific examples of maybe when you've been shopping. I don't really want to freak you all out, but there are drug deals that do take place at the Walmart parking lot. You're there with your child. You're pushing your cart, and it's happening. We don't want to talk about it because that's not part of the beauty of our community, but the truth of the matter is it is. So the ripple effect is that those are diminished over time. And that's really what we want to see. And so I would hope that at some point those benefits, which are very hard to measure, but they're out there. And I'd like to be able to report those back to you, and I'm hopeful, and I know I will be able to. I just know I will. So I do have to finish, though, with one thing, because honestly, we do have fun sometimes. So there's a picture, I think, that maybe was up there. It had us wearing 3 hands with a bracelet on it. I don't know if that was shown or not. So I decided, well, all the team members are gonna wear these bracelets. We're gonna make them. We're gonna put a word that's meaningful to us on there and for the team. And when we have somebody who graduates, they're gonna make their own bracelet and they're gonna be part of our team. Because the reality is, at this point now, they're going in the community and they are gonna be, a good messenger of this program. So I have a couple of people on the team that are maybe a little bit more, seasoned, a little grizzly, not in a bad way. Plus, like police officers, things like that. And they'll see the look on their face when I said, oh, we're going to make these bracelets. They were like, no, this is not arts and crafts. I'm like, oh, no, this will be good. So we started making them, and when you do it, it's very, very loud. And I thought our bailiff was going to, he had no idea what we were doing in the courtroom. Came flying in. So the point, though, is the message is like, look, we're doing things differently. This is not your typical court day. You're not coming in and it's going to be, it's still formal, but it's not formal in that sense. We're trying to flip the script, do things a little bit differently, and that I think was the intent of making those bracelets, was to understand that this is a true team. It's not adversarial. It's not all of us against one person. It's all of us working together to try to create a better balance for that person. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. It's great to learn about what you're working on, and wow, when you talk about someone and how they could be in different courts at different times, and you talk about the chaos and also talk about that ripple effect. So thank you for sharing that with us. Keeping with that theme of needed programs and services, we're now going to turn the talk over to Jeff, and we're going to talk about nonprofits in the area.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And Jennifer, it's nice to meet you for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow. Hold on. Just wait a minute. Everybody.
All right.
Well done, sir.
Good to have a little mid-afternoon laugh. North Mid-Den Youth Services is a nonprofit organization making a difference in our surrounding communities. Joining me is Kathy Peterson, who I met a few years ago, founder and executive director of the North Mid-Den Youth Services. Welcome, Kathy. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. We need to talk.
Yeah, I love it. All the collaboration's already starting to happen. I could feel it in the room. Kathy, can you explain what led you to establishing this organization, and when did you guys start? How did this all come to fruition?
Well, I have to talk about my life personally for a little bit, just a couple sentences. I was raised by an entrepreneur whose product changed his life, my family's life, and also he created an industry. He probably would have been one of our youth pantry students. He lived in a dysfunctional family. I don't know if they were poor, but pretty close to it. He barely graduated from high school, but he always told me that he had a PhD. Persistence, hunger, and determination. And I've always wondered, how did he do that? How did this man create this industry? And I'll tell you what it was, okay? It was kitty litter cat box filler and Tidy Cat 3. And he did that being all the time out of school because of the dysfunction. So when I moved here with my husband about 12 years ago, I thought retirement was going to be just perfect for me. Well, I was an entrepreneur also, and I was bored silly. And my dad always told me, if in its company or in your community, if you see a problem, find the solution. And that's what he did with kitty litter cat box filler. Okay? Cats were, yeah.
You got it.
He brought them inside the house. So when all of a sudden, I was over at MANA volunteering, and I realized why can't we have youth pantries, a pantry in an actual school? Because hunger hurts. Hunger hurts growing bodies, developing brains, self-confidence, school success, and future opportunities. Hunger just plain hurts. And I'll never forget some of these. I could be here all day, so I better focus.
Very good.
So when I heard about this, that the numbers up there, we did a test market, 2016, November 18th. And John Wilcox, when I met with him about this idea, he didn't bat an eye. He said, let me find you a room. He said, do you realize most of these kids who are poor in this school, in this middle school, have never been in downtown Petoskey? Never been downtown Petoskey. And so he was the catalyst that started this. And then really in 2017, what he did, he chose 8, and get this, 8 poor kids who were leaders. Every business person in this room should listen to that. They were leaders. And so they came in the first day, and they couldn't believe what they saw, all this food. In fact, one little girl said she'd never seen so much food, and she couldn't come back. But the other ones went back to the lunchroom, and all of a sudden there were 20 more kids because they were leaders, and they told their friends, this is a resource for us. You don't realize, but to choose between a can of chicken noodle soup and tomato soup for an 11-year-old, 12-year-old child, 15, 16 child, that's a huge empowering when you're living in chaos. And that's what these children live in. And so we now have 15, 14, we have every single middle school and high school in Emmett County. We have also 2 court-appointed, and we also have 1 in Charlevoix, wow. A court-appointed Round Lake Academy, and the kids call it the Round Table. Sometimes we have 10 kids who are in trouble with the courts, and sometimes it goes down to 10. But these children need us, and they need to have everyone understand their chaotic life. One boy I will never forget, he had broken glasses, and our volunteers would say, hey, can we please buy you a pair of glasses? And he said, no. My dad has promised me when he gets out of prison, he's going to buy me a pair of glasses. He finally got a pair of glasses, so we realized his dad's out. But then one day take him down to the school office because he wouldn't give away his cell phone. And he was in the detention chair, and I said to him, what are you doing here? You want to be a pilot. You can't be in the detention. And he said, and I said, let me see if you can help me stock the shelves. And so he stocked the shelves, and all of a sudden he was right in front of me. And he was a 12-year-old boy, and he said, I couldn't give my phone away because I had to find my mom. Last night the police came and took my dad away back to prison. Can you imagine feeling that? Can you imagine? And he said, his girlfriend will not want me. His girlfriend will not want me. So that's you don't realize the stories we hear. I'm sorry.
Wow,
I can go
Kathy.
on
no,
and on.
I get it. These are sensitive subjects. I appreciate you talking about them. Kathy, your website says, and it's quoted, whether it's individualized help, peer support, or groceries that our students need, we're there for them. What services do you offer, and how large is your impact? We heard you talk about kind of the broad amount of grocery cabinets in the different communities?
Yes, we're seeing now over 400 this afternoon. In fact, there's 225 of you. We saw 400 probably kids who were hungry. We never ask them why. It's none of our business. They're hungry. And if they come back, someone in their family has said, this is good, bring more. What we have found, food comes first. In fact, when my husband and I adopted a 3.5-year-old from Riga, Latvia, Russian orphanage, and that's what the woman when we went to pick her up, I said, what should I bring? She said, bring yogurt. Bring yogurt. She'll trust you when you bring her food. And the kids come for the food first, but guess what we learn? They come back also for our volunteers. The acknowledgement. Oh, hi, Tony, how are you? How's your grandma? Now, how was your science test last week? Acknowledgement. These kids are forgotten because they smell and they're different. They were different when they were in kindergarten, and now they're even more different. They want to hide. So we do mentoring. I mean, these are only 10-minute mentoring because if you're hungry, you don't want to miss that school lunch, and that's when our pantries are open. And then we also have give them tutoring, all tutoring, free tutoring, although we had to cut that down because we could not afford it because the food is so expensive. We probably every month, not probably, we buy over $14,000 worth of food to feed these 400 kids, these 400 children who are needing us. And okay.
Wow. I'm blown away, and I've obviously been involved in the schools through Strive and other programs too. It's just amazing what you guys are doing, and the fact that Dr. Leslie's here to see this is fantastic. What does the future look like? I mean, obviously you guys are talking about expanding some of the mentorship that you guys are doing and the tutoring. What does the future look like for North Mendon Youth Services?
Well, I think the future for these kids, I mean, we've had great successes, okay? And every business person in this room should also think about that. We had one little boy, a second grader in Alanson, that 1 out of 2 are hungry, okay? 1 out of 2 are hungry. And this little second grade, because it's all in one building, they're K through 12, he went to his teacher and said, hey, I need to get to the vault. It's called the Viking Vault. And she said, why do you need that? And he said, well, my older brothers won't go there. And I'm hungry, and they're hungry, but they're scared to go there for stigma. So the teacher came down, and I said, yeah, bring that child down here. And what he did was he went and got his brother's backpacks and his backpack, and he just stuffed them. Now that kid saw a problem, said, I got to find the solution. I know I'm only 7 years old, but my brothers are too scared. I'm doing this. That is the type of employee you want. He'd be a great salesperson, but he might be forgotten, and no one understands what he's lived through. But we have a lot of great programs. About a couple of years ago, the Youth Advisory Committee from the Community Foundation Group, they did a survey, and one of the items was that there was nothing to do for any youth. And the survey goes in the middle school and high school, all economics, okay, and conditions. And we really, my big vision, if my dad could dream big, I'm dreaming big. We want a youth center. And we're starting it. We're going to be having, after spring break, we're going to have a yoga class at Yoga Roots, after school, out of school. It's key. after school and out of school, because the halls of the high school and the middle school are quite overwhelming to these children. But we want it to be for all our kids, because we know that all kids, if they're under anxiety and stress and depression, which the survey showed, they need a place to go to, that they can be just kids in a safe place, meeting new friends, and being with old friends. And that's one of our biggest goals. But the food comes first. The food comes first, because that's what our 501c3 says.
Yeah. Well, and it's the biggest need. I think, thank you for your big heart and your generosity. And, I know that they're always looking for volunteers and for people to help. So I hope you guys can connect with Kathy. Our final topic is healthcare, and Nikki will be tackling our healthcare topic here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
I might still be a little stuck on the jail and cat litter, but let's move on, shall we? No. So one of the things that's so fascinating about our community and our chamber having so many members that are so different is that we have a lot of members who are in the same space. And that's why we really love being able to bring in different faces and voices so that everybody understands just how complex and interesting and amazing our community is. So we're going to talk about Munson Healthcare today. And they obviously are Northern Michigan's largest and leading system based in Traverse City. Their team has 8 award-winning community hospitals and organizations in 29 counties in Northern Michigan. And most of us recognize their hospitals in Cadillac, Grayling, Traverse City, and Charlevoix. And what people don't understand is, well, where are we going here? So we want to talk about that today. So we're joined by Joanne Schroederer, who's president of Charlevoix Hospital Munson. She's been in the role since June of 2017. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Now let's talk about the services that Munson offers in Emmett County.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to say thank you, Nikki, for inviting Munson Charlevoix Hospital to this wonderful event. We really appreciate it. So in Emmett County, Munson Healthcare purchased Little Traverse Primary Care in Harbor Springs in 2021. And that's one of our largest family practice sites. We have 3 family practice physicians there, or soon to be 4, and 3 APP, or advanced practice providers, nurse practitioners and PAs is how we reference those folks. And we also have subspecialists in that practice as well to make it convenient for the community. We have OB gynecology, general surgery, and urology. So Little Traverse Primary Care sees patients from newborn to elderly. They're all accepting patients, and it's just been a great partnership with them. They do amazing work.
That is fantastic, and they're right there on M119, so easy to see, easy to find. Now, Munson also announced a 3-year regional care transformation plan. That's a big, kind of way of saying you had a lot of things that you're putting out there for the community, not just in Traverse City and Charlevoix, but Emmett County as well. That would have been in the fall of 2020. Explain to us what led to the idea of a transformational plan. Sure.
Yes, I'm happy to talk about this. We recently announced it, as you said, and it's gotten a lot of questions around it. So the Regional Care Transformation Plan is Munson Healthcare's strategic plan for the future. And while I'm not going to talk about the pandemic, I think we can all agree that it changed the way we do business. And so the driving factors around the change and the Regional Care Transformation really is threefold. It's about the persistent workforce shortages. It is reimbursement not keeping up with the cost of care. And then it's also the realization that it's not economically feasible to sustain acute care hospitals in every community. And so you have the slide is the Regional Care Transformation, and it has 5 components. It's really about access, outpatient services, virtual care, regionalizing inpatient care, and then elevating Munson Medical Center in Traverse City as a tertiary hospital, which of course it is, but we want to make sure that we have access to the communities that we serve so that when you need that higher level of care or those subspecialties, you're able to get into Munson Medical Center. So one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically with regional care transformation is Charlevoix Hospital. I think when that information came out, there were a lot of questions about what's going to change at Charlevoix Hospital. So first of all, I just want to assure you we are a vibrant, proud organization. And the good news is nothing is changing at Charlevoix Hospital except growth. So we have inpatient services, obstetric services, surgical services, ER services, and those are all staying and nothing is changing. You know, when we talk about regionalizing inpatient services, what that means is we want to make sure we get the patient in the right location for the care that they need. So current state, Charlevoix Hospital, if we have a patient that presents and it is outside the scope of care that we provide, so for example, we don't have an intensive care unit, we already ship that patient to Gaylord or to the medical center in Traverse City. So that is not new and not changing. Actually, 95% of Charlevoix's revenue is generated from outpatient services already. And so, as you can imagine, we have limited inpatient services, but we do have inpatient services, and mostly those are surgical patients, and that is not changing. So just want to make sure that I emphasize that Charlevoix really has most opportunity for growth.
And we know that, thank you for that too, because we want to dispel rumors when we're here today. We know that healthcare is changing, as you said. There's a tremendous amount of challenge in the healthcare industry, and we understand that options and opportunities have been impacted, obviously, by COVID, but also as we move forward into virtual and different ways that people can see patients and what that patient-centric model is. Patients demand more. They want more. They expect more, as they should deserve more. So part of the transformational plan was really about adopting a more patient-centric model, particularly right here. So can you lay out a little bit about what that looks like? What's another rumor we're going to take care of?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, so again, access. And so I'm very excited to share with you that Munson Healthcare has purchased the old Art Van building here in Petoskey, and we're really excited. We're going to be transforming that into an outpatient health center. So we closed on the building in December, and we're in the design phase process right now with an anticipated opening of late summer of 2025. So there's going to be a variety of services in the building, including primary care, urgent care, lab services, radiology services, and also they'll have subspecialists at this location as well. And that would be orthopedics, cardiology, and urology. So we're just really excited to serve the community, bring services here, and just can't wait. Also, other exciting things as far as expanding our footprint is with our OB, gynecology, women's health services. As I mentioned earlier, we already are seeing patients at Little Traverse Primary Care in Harbor Springs every Monday. Also, we are seeing patients in Boyne Area Health Center in our Boyne City practice every Tuesday, in addition to, of course, seeing patients in Charlevoix. We also have hired an additional OB gynecologist. Her name is Tricia Tompkins, and she'll join us in July, born and raised in Boyne City. We also have redone our obstetrics department completely, and we're going to be having a Women's Health Expo on April 18th, so I hope you can join us for a tour and to come meet our providers. And then lastly on the slide, I think you'll see there's Dr. Monks, who is one of our OB gynecologists, also born and raised in Boyne City, and then Dr. Jared Davis, who's a urologist, born and raised in Gaylord. And they are standing next to the new Da Vinci robot that we purchased in November. So we're really excited to be able to offer surgeries that are less invasive, and these are two of our wonderful providers in addition to many others that use this new technology.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joanne. There are great things we have to look forward to on the healthcare horizon. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I really want to know if I was the only one when we were talking about the Art Van building and 2025 that thought Halloween costumes on doctors and patients. So my brain went there. I'm so sorry. All right, Jeff. I'm throwing it back. I just pictured it. Like, you know, okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys to all of our speakers. We really appreciate it. Before I close here, I just wanted to say tomorrow is a very special day. It is going to mark 10 years that Nikki Devitt has been with the Petoskey Regional Chamber of Commerce. Of those 10 years, she has served as president for 4 of them, and we are so lucky to have Nikki here at the Chamber. We just wanted to wish her a very special day tomorrow as she reaches her 10-year anniversary.
Yes, you're in trouble.
I love you.
I love you.
So, we really got some truly great information today, and as a reminder, beyond the speakers you heard today, there are over 30 reports in this State of the Community. So we encourage you, download it, read it. There's just lots of good information, even stuff we didn't talk about today. Thank you to Lisa and Nikki, and thanks to all of our speakers this morning, this afternoon. Thank you to Emily for running things in the back and just putting everything together. You're awesome, Emily. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you to our sponsors, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan, Consumers Energy, and OHM Advisors. We greatly appreciate your continued support for our State of the Community event. We want to thank Crooked Tree Art Center for being our event host, and the Quiet Moose for making the stage look spectacular, Roast and Toast Coffee for keeping us caffeinated throughout the day, and Alpine Media, thank you so much for giving us, those who could not make the opportunity to watch the recording. Thank you, Duan and team. And thank you, everyone, for coming. You guys are the leaders in our community, and together, when we work together and collaborate, we can change our community and make this a better place. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you find someone and leave them better than when you found them. Thank you so much.